All right. Hey there. Anyone who's there? Oh, gotta go here. Oh, I was doing the U2 thing. That's funny. Let's see. Let's go to this channel here. This channel. All right. Anybody there? Oh, there we go. Weird. It says I've been live for 31 seconds. 47 seconds. That's weird. All right. So let me get organized here. Okay. These are the notes in the up here. The notes in the blues scale, starting on C and starting on A. And then I need to grab some images I just made and put them in, let's see, put them in up here on the screen. So we're going to do pentatonic number 5. It's the last one. So we're adding blues notes to pentatonic number 5. Okay, let's see, where is it? Live stream stuff. Okay, this is where I want it. I need my downloads. There they are. Okay, I'm going to do this one at a time, but so what pentatonic number 5, and I probably have it somewhere. I could maybe drag that in as well. But if you just ignore the blue note, then you have pentatonic number 5. So that works out. Let's see. Boom. All right. So if you ignore that blue note, or the 2 blue notes, which are E flats, you have pentatonic number 5. Okay, now I need to duplicate this. Sure. All right, now I am going to delete this image. It's got to be a faster way to do this, but yeah. And I'm going to add an image, and now I'm going to add. So then now I'm going to do I'll start with a minor. So pentatonic number 5 with a minor. So now the red notes are A's. So it's that top scale. A, C, D, E flat, E, and G. All right. All right. We are not many viewers right now. It's interesting. People are saying they're not getting notifications, which is weird. My viewership is way down. So whatever YouTube is doing, they're just not promoting my channel anymore. So I'm wondering what's going on there. Somebody said they even shoot, there we go. They even unsubscribed and resubscribed to turn on the notifications again. So, okay, Bruce, you got yours. Interesting. So I don't know what's going on there, but my viewership is just way down, almost to the point of like, why am I even doing this? Let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to duplicate again, and I'm going to upload. So it'll look like I'm actually deleting something, but I'm not, because I'm actually duplicating. And then the last one we're going to do is the, boy, this is most cumbersome software I've ever used. It's like, my goodness. So here's, that's the C major. So this is the scale. If you start on the yellow notes, this is the bottom C, D, E flat, E, G, A. So it sounds like this. We got some stripes on me here. Let's see if I can get rid of that. We are getting, the sky's all orange because we're getting, we have fires. We're fine. We had fires a couple of years ago, or not a couple of years ago, about a year ago. Okay, Keith, you received a notification. Good. And Bob, you got yours? Okay. Notifications come late. Well, it's, yeah, and it's weird because the thing that I don't understand is I hit the button to go live and it used to open up. In fact, I have to change the title, right? Because the title is wrong. It's lesson 108. And it's not pentatonic scales. I need to change it to blues scales, to be honest. So I need to go back and change the names of all these things. And the other thing is, I apologize if you go back and watch. I just went and deleted all the ads that were in. See, because I have it set to have ads in mid-roll ads, which means ads throughout. But I only set it to every 30 minutes. Like every 30 minutes, I put a little ad in there. And maybe what I'll do is, if I remember when I get to 30 minutes, I'll put an ad in. Because I can do that here, I think. Let's see. Stream settings. Oh, I think it's under edit. Save. What's all this? No, that's just my text. I don't see it. Weird. Okay. I haven't changed anything, but okay. So but I think there was somewhere in here where I could add an. Oh, here it is. Insert ad. Okay. So I can do that, and maybe if I insert it at 30 minutes, it will not default to putting one in every 5 minutes, which is really ridiculous. So here's pentatonic number 5 with the blues note and no root designation. Here's pentatonic, same exact thing. Nothing's changed except all I did was I highlighted the 3 A notes in the scale, which means this would be the blues. And so what this sounds like, you start on that, or you start on that one. And so that's an A minor blues. And then I don't really have a name for this. I can make that bigger. I don't have a name for this. You could call it C major blues, I guess. I don't know. But what we have is a C, D, E flat, E, G, A, and C. And that's a root, second, flat third, fifth, sixth, and so. And you could go back and forth between, between C major, and then if you did C blues, it would sound like, that would be a mental exercise more than anything. But like I said, George Benson would do that over that progression. I think I programmed that progression. Let me jam a little bit while we wait for people to show up. Oh, I did it here. Here it is. So here's the pentatonic by itself. Very happy, very inside. There's no bad notes in there. If I add the blue note in there, I get. But if I took this and moved it up 3 frets, now I'm playing in C minor blues instead of C major blues. Oh, sorry. And if I move that up 3 frets. But the root is now down here instead of here. That seventh kind of sounds weird against that major seventh chord, but because of blues, you can kind of get away with a weird sounding note of it. Now I'm in pentatonic number 1 in C minor. So I got my first finger, but that light is annoying, isn't it? Oh wait, this one. There we go. Much better. Like that. So all I'm doing is I'm moving this scale up 3 frets. Okay. Yeah, I was a little late. All right, so let me say some hellos here. We got 17. See, I think YouTube is totally squashing me for some reason. My view count used to be 15,000. Now it's down to 5,000. So it's like way down. It's like basically making nothing now to do this. So, hey, Keith, how's it going? Bruce, Bob, Dennis. Let's see, who else is here? Roger. Yeah, you got your notification, but it was late. It's weird. I'm not in shorts. No, I'm wearing jeans. I don't even own any shorts except my swim trunks. I think I have some basketball shorts that I never wear. My legs are skinny and white. They're pretty ugly. Let's see. Darren, good to see you, Darren. So we're going to go over I'll do a reminder of the pentatonic scale, then we'll do the pentatonic with the blues, and then we'll kind of look at the different roots. Let's see who else is in the house. Oh, it could be the holiday. You're right. Although sometimes holidays are better, but people are probably out of town. You're right. Oh, through headphones. Yeah. Oh, you're not getting stereo though, because all I'm doing is going through the microphone on the computer now. When I was taking the direct signal, my guitar was just direct and no amplification sound to it at all. So, B Kitty, good to see you. Yeah, so we have some little bit of fire here. So I was out of town. It wasn't for a holiday weekend out of town, but if you're wondering why I wasn't here Friday, it was because I had to we flew to Tulsa to go to Joplin to see my daughter graduate. So we were there literally 2 nights. We flew to Tulsa, drove to Joplin, got a hotel there, a couple nights in Joplin, saw my daughter graduate, hung out with her. Oh, that's good. And then also we went to where did we go? We went to Bentonville, Arkansas, which was a cute little town. Got a pretty good meal there, and ate at a restaurant inside a couple times, or every time. Pretty much every time we ate out, it was inside a restaurant, which was nice because in LA we're still not allowed to do that. It's a good thing we have good weather. We could do that year round pretty much. Wouldn't be a problem. But New York, de Blasio said they're not going to let restaurants have indoor seating until sometime next year. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good right now. But come November, come the first snow, come the pouring rain, come sleet and blizzards, nobody's going to be going to restaurants. So, yep, the last kid to graduate, Emma. Alex went to school, but he didn't, like me, he didn't see a reason to get a degree. And if you're in music school, or you have a kid and want to go to music school, or if you are thinking about, if you got a grandkid that's thinking about going to music school, I did a couple videos about that. And I feel like it was fairly fair. I'm just kind of waiting for more people to show up if possible. But let's see, playlists. I did, I have my, and I haven't done a video in it in quite a while because it's hugely unpopular. But apparently all of my videos now are really unpopular. But I have a series called Business of Making Music. And let's see, can I actually get a link? I wish they would make it easier to get a link. I'd have to click on it to get a link. So I have a couple videos. One is, let's see, where is it? Oh, is it further up? Should I go to music school? Is one of them. Number 5 was and then number 6 was be your own college. So
writing's not that easy.
In a sense, oh come on, stop. No thanks. So here's should I go to music school? And I'll tell you the premise of that. But if you have someone, a nephew or a niece or a grandchild or son or daughter or somebody that's thinking about going to music school, maybe have watched that. And I'm happy to talk to somebody, you know, if you know somebody that's really thinking about it. But then my other one is be your own college, which basically is never stop learning. So you know, I think, you know, there may be a psychological factor. I don't know. That you go to music school and once you graduate, you know, or you go to any school once you graduate and you stop learning. But doctors aren't like that. Doctors are constantly having to learn. Lawyers obviously have to relearn the law every year. So, you know, the major professions are constantly. So if you want to have a legitimate career in music, you have to kind of keep learning. For me, it's a lot about learning new technologies, learning new ways of generating revenue, but also learning new instruments and maybe new styles of music. So let's see. I'm full panic mode, prepping to teach online tomorrow. Oh, Catherine, my wife is doing that right now. She's been teaching online. Boy, I wish you could talk to her. She's been doing it for South Pasadena schools, and I think they're using Zoom. I think they were going to, and then they weren't, and then they were going to use Google Meets. And now they're using Zoom. And she's really learned a lot in the last month. It's been crazy because they've been back at school almost a month. So yeah, thank you, B Kitty. Yeah, it was great to see her. And yeah, it was pretty normal there. I mean, you know, the businesses, the funny thing is the big businesses, they're the ones that make their employees wear, you know, the corporations, the people, you know, but nobody sues a little mom and pop restaurant, you know, but a corporation, they'll go, I flew on your jet and I got COVID. Well, you don't know that you got COVID but that's been the big driving downforce of a lot of the stock market issues is lawsuit fear. I think there should be some protections from that because you can't, I mean, it all started when you start suing cigarette companies when they said back in the 60s that it was bad for you. And I started smoking in the 70s, got lung cancer, and now I'm suing the tobacco companies. I'm like, when that went the way it went, I was like, okay, well, you're going to start suing McDonald's for getting fat now, you know. Well, just don't go to McDonald's. So I don't know. It's just crazy. It's a crazy world. But I feel like that. I think that hopefully judges will just throw those cases out. They won't even get to trial. Just because you can't prove it. There's no way you can prove you got COVID from a specific situation. Unless you had cameras following you everywhere you went, and you didn't go anywhere for a month. You never left a room, and you never came in contact with any other people, including the cameraman. And then you went to a restaurant and then went immediately home, and you had COVID. Then maybe you'd have a case, but you'd have to have documentary evidence that you never left your home for a month. Oh, good, Darren. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff up there, and there's all sorts of stupid talk like this that you have to sort through before you can find the actual lesson. So let's look at this. Let's see. I'm going to go through some old lessons here. What's that? Nope. Nothing there. No. Wow, look at that. We did that. Okay, look at all these memories. Okay, that's what we did last week. There's last Wednesday's lesson right there. That's pentatonic number 4 with the blues notes added. Pentatonic number 4 with the blues notes and the A's, the minor roots notated. And so I'm guessing I don't have what I need back here. Yeah. Oh, wait. Nope. No. There's pentatonic number 5 by itself. I mean 4 by itself. I'm looking for number 5 by itself. I don't see it. Okay. So we're just going to go on. That's cool looking. All right. So we'll go here. So ignore the blue notes. Let's just play the pentatonic shape. We're going to start with our second finger on the 3rd fret of the bottom string. Play 3rd fret, then pinky on, and we're just going to do this pure positional playing, meaning we're not going to shift positions. We're playing in what's called second position. Actually, I didn't need to use air quotes. It literally is second position, but take a sip. Actually, take 2 sips because that's erroneous air quotes. Oh, God bless you, Kevin. Thank you, Bruce. You've come to the right place. I don't know about that. All right, I got to take a second sip. Sorry. It's like when Joey uses air quotes, where he goes, "I'm sorry." It's like, oh my gosh, so funny. Yeah. So when I talk about using positional playing, it means we're going to assign. If you're at the second position, that means your first finger gets the 2nd fret. Is assigned to every note on the 2nd fret. Your second finger is assigned to every note on the 3rd fret. Your 3rd finger is assigned to every note on the 4th fret, and your 4th finger is assigned to every note on the 5th fret. So normally when I would play pentatonic number 5, I probably wouldn't play it like this, except for these academic scenarios. So we're going to play it academically. We're going to play it really positionally here, and then we can play it. Once we start doing the blues thing and we start playing licks, then we'll ignore that, okay? But let me just show you real pure. Let's see, 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the bottom string, 3, and then 5th fret with the pinky. Same thing on the next string. Okay, now we're gonna go to the 2nd fret with our 1st finger, then pinky, and then 2nd fret again, and pinky. And then we're gonna go back to the 3, 5, and then 3, 5. And then backwards, 5, 3, 2nd string, 5, 5th fret, 3rd fret, then 3rd string, 5th fret, 2nd fret with the 1st finger, then same thing on the next string down, 5th fret, 2nd fret, then 5th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 3rd fret. Okay, now what I mean by position playing versus reality, that was position playing. That was pure. You can practice it like that. I mean, I think it's actually a good exercise for finger independence. You could do groups of 3. You could do the more difficult groups of 4. And the reason it's more difficult is because when you go back down to get the start of the next group of 4, you're going down usually on an adjacent string on the same fret, and that makes it really difficult. Check it out. So the very beginning of that is 2nd finger, 4th finger, 2nd finger, 4th finger, and then the next note is 4th finger. So see what I'm doing here? I'm kind of playing the 4th finger here. I'm laying it down a little bit. Okay, I'm not using the tip of my 4th finger for this note because I know I'm going to be going to the tip. I need to roll my finger to get the tip. So if you're ever doing adjacent playing, I should do an exercise for that. I've never, there's got to be I'm sure this book, where is it? I'm sure there's an exercise in here I can probably do a video about. This book, Pumping Nylon, that's for classical guitarists primarily, but one of the things that classical guitarists do is they do a lot of exercises. It's essentially like they're like little Boy Scouts. They're trying to be prepared. You want to be prepared for anything that might get thrown at you in some piece. And so every scenario is kind of worked out and learned and pre-programmed into your hands. I knew a jazz player that did the same thing. He came up with some crazy exercises, and it allowed him to have the dexterity and the range of motion to be able to do anything he heard in his head he could do with his hands, which was really cool. and it was amazing to watch him play. He was the guy that showed me that one way to kind of start to learn giant steps was to take each chord and play root, second, third, fifth of each chord. So like the first chord of giant steps is B major, and then the next chord is D major, and the next G major, and then B major, B flat major, sorry. So Giant Steps is a very difficult song to play over. And so what he would do is just try to play the triad plus one note. And in this case, it was the... I already forgot. Anyway, it's one of those rites of passage for true jazz musicians. I never ever got good enough at it, but there's different approaches to playing over giant steps, and I have my own very, very controversial opinion about that. Okay, I'm going to do the pentatonic number 5 one more time here, and this time I'm going to call out the letter names. So follow along with my hands, but I'm going to call out the letter names. So start with your second finger again. We're going to start here, and then I'm going to talk about the positional versus non-positional just in a second. So second finger this is G. So look at where we are. Oh, well, we're not. Can I edit this? I can, but I don't want to. So we're ignoring the E flat. Right now we're just talking about the pentatonic, not the blues scale. So G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A. Backwards. A, G, E, D, C, A, G, E, D, C, A, and G. Okay. Now, non-positionally, this thing will come into use. I'm going to change tones a little bit, but for example, I use this example all the time. And remember, pentatonic 5 comes into play with George Harrison's solo on Let It Be. He did two different versions of Let It Be. There's the difference between the album version of Let It Be and the single Let It Be is there's two things, and I'm trying to remember what the second thing is. The one thing is that solos are different. And then there's a second thing there's a difference between them. And I can't remember what it is. Is it like there's an organ? There's an organ on both of them. Anyway, so let's see. Now, see, this is where I used to have this solo nailed, and I always get those two solos mixed up. But you can see right away. Okay? He's got his first finger on that C note there. He didn't go, oh, gee, better use this finger because that's the proper finger to use in the scale. No. When the rubber meets the road, when we get to the real use of scales, you may change the fingering up to make it easier. Again, if there's two ways to do something, and we're talking about a guitar player here, and you're trying to figure out something, oh, you can play the scale this way, or the lick this way, or this way, and this way's easy and this way's hard. It's always this way. So. See, here's where he goes up to pentatonic number 2 from pentatonic. This is all pentatonic number 1 right here. And here he's staying in the position. But, and again, back down to pentatonic number 5 with his first finger on this note, which you would say, oh, no, that should be second finger, but of course it's not. Okay, so there's also, let's see. What's the second one? Let's see. The other solo, I always get these two mixed up now. I didn't used to. The second one, which I think is the single version, which I didn't have. I had the album, so I learned the first one the album version and didn't even know there was a second version for a long, long time. And then when I learned it, I was like, oh, this is great because it's another great solo to demonstrate pentatonic scales, neighboring pentatonic scales for students. So then it got to the point where I was teaching both solos to students for years. But so that you can see where that's all, there's a lot of that in there. And you might be able to make the argument, I'd have to listen closer, but I think he's getting up to that E. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not going. Boy, I'd have to listen to it again. But if he's getting only to the E flat, that's the blue note right there, right here, right here, right here. See that blue note right there? And I wish my hand would go over the, look, it disappears behind the diagram. So, and actually, I know many of you would prefer that I just do this. So, see the blue note right there? Boop, boop, boop. Technically, you could say he's bending to that, but I'm not sure. I'd have to listen to it again and go, okay, that could be your homework assignment. Did George, on the single version, which is on the, I don't know if you have those black and white compilation records. They have a black one and a white one, I think, and those are the ones for the early Beatles songs that were the singles, and then the second one was for the later Beatles songs that were singles, because they did a crazy thing where they would do an album every 6 months, but they'd also release singles that wouldn't be on the album. It's like, marketing was so different back then because they had payola, but Beatles, I don't think benefited from any payola ever. They didn't have to. Oh, no worries, XL. Welcome. We've kind of just begun. So let's play this scale. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play this scale now that I've kind of set the premise or set the groundwork that it's okay to finger it wrong. We're going to finger it wrong. We're going to start with our first finger, third finger, first finger, third finger, and then pinky. Okay? So we're going to play those first 5 notes like that. And then we'll jump down to first finger down on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. And that's where we'll kind of get lined up a little bit for more second position playing, more position playing, okay? Okay, see that? And then maybe I'm fine with you if you want to go to your first finger for this note again. I think. I mean, it just feels so much more natural to do all that nasty and stuff and hammer-ons and bends and stuff with these 3 fingers rather than these 3 fingers. It's like these 3 fingers are stronger, more dominant, and these 3 fingers are less so. So these are more alpha and these are more beta. So it makes more sense. It makes more sense to do that kind of stuff with these 3 fingers. So we're not going to stick to a pure position playing. We're going to move things around a little bit, okay? So let's do this ascending. And let's start on first finger, 3rd fret, 3rd finger, 5th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 6th fret. Let's play that much again. 1, 3, 1, 3, 4. And those numbers are referring to your fingers. Okay, now let me do it again, referring to your frets. 3, 5, 3, 5, 6. And one more time referring to the actual notes we are playing. There won't be a quiz on that. Where's my mug? Oh, here it is. There won't be a quiz on this. So take a sip. This is a sippable celebration. But I always like to say the letter names of the notes as often as possible so they start to sink in, because to me that's the most important thing you can learn on your guitar, an electric guitar, is learn the notes on the fretboard. It's not the only thing. It's like, and it's number 1 by a hair, and number 2 is 4,000 other things. So don't give me grief. Well, I learned all the notes on my neck, and now I can't, but I still can't play. It's like, yeah, it's just one thing, but it's really like it opens up so many doors. Okay, I gotta take my sip and shut up. Okay, so in general, what fingering should I use? Well, this is what I'm saying. If you were to play this scale, this is the blue scale, I would probably do this fingering that I'm doing right now. That's what I'm going to show you. That's what I would use. We have to make all these accommodations just because of that one stupid blue note that's at the 6th fret. However, still, when the rubber meets the road, I could have figured it this way. And if you want to be a purist, you could, Sorry, what am I doing? Or you could go. It doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't actually play it that way in the context of a solo. So let's go ahead and do this with the first finger. Oh, I was going to give you letter name notes. G, A, C, D, E flat. And keep in mind, here's our C. There's our C root, and here's our A root. So we might go. In fact, I can even play a little bit. Nah, I won't do that yet. I want to get through the scale first. I want to help you out first. Okay. I got to keep the chat up here. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so first, third, fourth. Move down to the second fret. First, fourth. So 1, 4, 1, 4. That's the same as pentatonic number 5. Nothing's changed. There are no blue notes in that neighborhood. However, the E flat could also be played down here, which I might do. I might go. See that? Go E flat to E to C. That's a cool lick. You know, it's kind of the entertainer lick. Okay, so now we're here on the pinky, and then what I would just go ahead and do, because I want to get your meaty fingers on these last 5 notes. We're going to go to the 3rd fret with our first finger and go 3, 4, 5, and then 3, 5. Okay, and that's our A right there. That's our blues root. So if I were to go to the that, you can see the blues root. There's our A. So if I were to play that much of the scale, the top 3 strings, I would probably start on my 3rd finger. And then maybe go to my pinky at that moment. You could go to your 3rd finger and then reach with your first. I count. But it's up to you. But then this note would be with the pinky. So let's descend. 3rd finger on the 5th fret. 2nd fret. I'm sorry. 3rd fret. 5, 5, 4, 3, 5, 2, 5, 2, 6 with the pinky. 5, 3, 5, 3. And then I would go ahead and go back to 5. So you're landing on the blues root at least. Or you could go up to the C note there till you go, you know, if you get one of those roots are going to be better sounding to land on than this note, which is a G. Okay, so let me do a little bit of jamming over A7 and D7, which I think is, oh, I'm sorry, what am I, oh wait, do I have A7 and D7? What key is this? This is C. Oh no, it's C. You know what, I could slow this down too. I'm going to move this though. Oops. Sorry, I'm just gonna create a little bit of a slower vibe for this jam, but I have to insert. Okay, so I'm set at 120 now. Load it down to 80. And then I'm going to do, so it's going to be much slower. And then I got to put it 120 back in so those other things don't change. All right. Sorry. All right. So, the drummer. He's not very happy about this. Maybe I can change the grip. Oh, yeah. So I'm just going A7 to D7, 1 to 4 in the key of A for A blues. Hold on a second if you. Notice I'm using my 3 fingers down here. Just meteor. For that hammer on, I'm using my 3rd finger. I use my pinky. Using 3 fingers for that hammer on. Also notice the difference the sound of the pick makes if I pick up here versus back here. A little subtle, hard to hear over the microphone. Okay, all right. So let me see if I can address Vito's question here. Let me see what else we have. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Hey, Kevin. No, it's all right, Kevin. Kevin's already gone. Oh my gosh, you got to drop your daughter off of college. Just I paid my last tuition. Let's see. Oh, what in general? What fingering? Vito, yeah, that's what I was trying to show you. Yeah. Oh, well, you could. Oh, you were asking me if I could do something. Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely not try to play the scales too fast right at the beginning. So if you go back to the first of these videos, let's see. Let me pull up my YouTube channel here. Videos. Which one was the first one of this current? Because see, we've done 5. This is the last one. So if you go back to lesson 93 and start with that one, okay? That's a great scale to learn. The pentatonic number 1 in A. We're in the key of C major or A minor, and you just practice playing the scale really slow. Get the fingering right. Try to hover your fingers over the fretboard. Don't tuck them away too much. And so that would be lesson. Did I say lesson 93? I said 93, right? Yeah, 93 is where it starts. I can give you a link. Oh, and let me post a link for the Discord. I'm not on that right now, but let me get on that real quick. And I'll also right now, while I'm thinking of it, I'll upload these diagrams to the Discord. Okay, so this diagram here that you see right here, no, here, this diagram. Okay, I will upload that. And if you print it, the JPEG actually is a ping. Sorry, if you print it, it'll actually be full size and fill up a page of paper. So what I would do is I'd create a Word doc and drag a bunch of them in and then print it, and that way you have them all on paper you can print. Yeah, nobody's hand feels like they're made for guitar scales, Vito, when they first start playing scales. That's 100% normal. And the other thing that's also an issue is getting your picking hand and your left hand synced together. That's part of the problem with trying to go too fast too soon. One of them is going to get left behind, and you're not going to be synced, and you're never going to fix that. One thing we could do, Vito, that would help, and I haven't done it in a while. Let me pull up the video for it. Okay, hold on. Let me get the Discord link. Okay, I'm doing too much here. Okay, copy. Here's the Discord. Oh, wait. I did that wrong because I'm supposed to do a permanent one. Oh, it is permanent. Okay, copy. This should be permanent. Yeah, nobody's hand feels like they're made for guitar scales. It's totally normal. Oh, that's great. And I'm really bummed because I just today went back and I'm going to upload these to Tom's Bookmarks, right? Yep, there they are. Okay, so I'm going to upload these scales right now. It's Tom's Bookmarks, so you can get them. There's 3 of them. Choose. Upload, upload, upload. Okay. I'm really bummed because I went back and I had the last 4 live streams I did. I hadn't had a chance to get to them and take out those ads. And they literally had ads every 5 minutes. It's just really ticking me off. Am I at 30 minutes yet? Oh, I'm at past that. So I missed my opportunity to put an ad in. I was going to do that myself, thinking that maybe that would prevent them from doing it. Let me do it anyway. You guys won't see the ad, but I'm going to insert an ad. Okay. So I don't think you'll. Let me know if you see an ad, but I don't think you will. I think that's only later, but I can do it on the fly, which is really cool. I got a little $sign right here. It's like make money. Okay, and then but here's what we're gonna do, Vito. This should help you a little bit. Okay, we're gonna do what I used to do. Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Always no. Never overlay. I mean, there's just really the only time if you're gonna. And what Vito's referring to is, I believe he's referring to, is do I leave my fingers on? See, there are some. Dang it! I keep going to the wrong windows here. Okay, need this window and this window. Okay. No, you don't leave when you go first finger to third finger. You don't leave your first finger on. There's no reason to leave unless you're going right back to it. So if I were to do, a hammer-on thing, well then yeah, I have to leave my first finger on there. That's on a case-by-case basis. But no, when you go up to there, yeah, release. Don't, yeah. Unless you're going to come back down, then you keep it on. Okay, that's all part of knowing what you're going to play before you play it, right? And so that's the thing that I found really helpful is to sing along with my playing. You can't do that with a chord, but you can do it with single notes. You know, if I know I'm going to do that, I hear it in my head and I go, okay. Then I know that I'm going to need to kind of maybe leave my third finger on it. But you don't even need to. I mean, like I'm trying to be aware of what my third finger is doing when I go to my pinky. And I know I'm coming back to my third finger. I still can lift my third finger a little off the string, or at least not push down hard. Can totally be just light. You know, one of the things too is to try to play a little lighter. I mean, I tend to play very hard, and one of to play faster. You know, the lighter you play, the faster you can play. And a lot of that's because of recovery time. If you dig too deep into something, you're gonna have to dig out of it. So if you push down really hard, you got to come away from it. And if you just really light touch, that's why guys will have like really low action on their guitars, or they'll have, so they don't have to push down very far. And it's very, very shallow. And then that's why you'll pick shallow. You pick really deep, you dig down deep in there, and your pick is touching practically the top of the guitar through every, you're just going to never be able to go fast. Okay, so the thing that we would do, though, when we first started doing these live streams is we were doing warm-ups. Let me find the warm-up that left. Yeah. So two left-handed exercises. So Vito, do this every day. We're going to do it for a little bit here. We're going to start out with, you guys are getting private lessons here. We're going to start out just first finger on the first fret. So this doesn't have anything to do with the scale. So let me just go to, do I have a blank screen? Not really. Let me delete this. Okay. It's so dark in here. I think my light bulb is kind of starting to go bad. Feels like it's getting darker. So we're going to just go all four fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's going to be. Okay? And the idea for this is to kind of, notice my pinky is just kind of waiting to get to work. Okay? The goal of this is to try to get your pinky to, and your fingers not to tuck away when you're not using them. And a lot of guitar players do that. A lot of famous guitar players do that. So it's not like going to destroy your opportunities to be a good guitar player if you tuck your fingers away. I do it all the time with my pinky especially. But the idea is to just kind of do, and you hit your pinky note twice, so it's 8 notes total. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1. I'm on the 5th fret. 6th fret. Okay, so, and you could go all the way down. I went to the 9th fret, and you said you were playing acoustic guitar, so you could stop at the 9th fret. I usually would. This because I learned this exercise as studying classical guitar. So on classical guitar, you got the neck hits, the body hits at the 12th fret. So you really can't comfortably go past the 12th fret anyway, and that's far enough. The idea is to try to develop some independent finger dexterity, okay? And then you could do this all the way down, right? I'll even go to acoustic. So I'm going to switch guitars so we can take a drink. And yes, you can do scales on acoustic guitar. It doesn't really matter. The theory is identical. The technique may change slightly when you come to bending. But other than that, and then access to higher frets, that's obviously going to be maybe more limited on an acoustic guitar. I have a Taylor. 814 has a cutout. I'm not a big fan of cutout guitars. I don't like the looks of them. I know that's kind of shallow, but I don't like the looks of them. And also, I feel like that the tone is a little bit more muted than a regular full-size guitar. There's a reason the guitar is shaped like this. And then to chop out a big chunk of it kind of, I think, hinders the fullness of it a little bit. That said, I almost never use my Taylor 814 for session work because I don't think it records as well. So, and if you've got this down, you can start out with, obviously, very slowly. Remember, hit the pinky twice. And exactly, I was just going to say that same thing, Kathy. You can pick all down on it if you're really having to concentrate hard on your left hand. But once you have that left hand down, you can start using alternating picking. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Because immediately, as soon as you start alternating picking, you're going to be able to double your speed. You will, if you're only picking down or only picking up, and a lot of players start out, I've had students show up and they're like, they only pick up, which is hilarious. But once you add that other stroke, the down or the up, you have the potential to double your speed, especially if you just hold in one note. Like, how fast can you play one note? Oh, with only down strokes, right? Or only up strokes. And then you can play so much faster if you are doing alternate picking. So, yeah. Whitson agrees with me. It's the only thing we agree on. Okay, and you keep doing this exercise down all the strings. You right? And it's one of those things you could do if you're not making a mistake. You could do in front of the TV. I don't recommend it necessarily. I'm saying this is a case of do as I say, not as I do. Because I probably did this a billion times in front of the TV. I really wanted to watch that Brady Bunch rerun for the 400th time when I was in college or whatever. Little House on the Prairie. It was my guilty pleasure. Laura was hot. Come on. Okay, there. You go all the way down. Okay, so that's one exercise. The other exercise in that video that I just put a link there to is really, really good for getting that pinky involved and strengthening your pinky. And basically what you're going to do, I'm talking to you, Avito. I think you were around when we were doing this on a regular basis, but you may not have been. But basically you go 1, 4, we can stay on the first fret. 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. And again, if that's really complex for you, you can just go with straight down picking. Also, it's great for if you're doing classical guitar to work on your alternate picking. When I studied this, when my teacher made me do this, at first I was just like index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, right? And I would go up the neck and do this on every string. And all the way up to the 9th fret. And then back down. And so on and so forth, and do it on every string. But then he would make me do it with my picking with my middle and my ring. So then I go, oh my gosh, that's totally different. Right now my nail's gone. I broke my nail. Oh, also, I'm going to post a video tomorrow, I hope, if I can finish editing it today. It was for those who were asking about my signal path. So I did a video on signal path. It's not very exciting, the signal path, but you know me, I've always got to have a bigger point. So I've got a bigger point to the whole discussion on signal path. And then my teacher would have me do index ring, which was also really, index ring is actually, I found that I could almost play scales and licks faster with those two fingers because they're closer to the same length. Like when you go index middle, you know, the fingers are different lengths, so they kind of, I don't know, they kind of attack the string differently, and it's a little bit, but I found I could actually play scales faster. Right now I don't have like I said, I don't have a nail on my ring finger. But when I was doing, really trying to get good at classical guitar, very, very long time ago, I found that actually I like playing scales better with my index and ring, and there's no reason you can't do it that way. If you're doing a fast passage or something, I would sometimes use those two fingers because they were the same length, and they just kind of fit better there. So that's a little thing. So this scale, like this exercise again is 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. And you can see that every other note is your pinky. So pinky is getting 50% of the work on this exercise. And you know, it's even really good to get down here too. That's what I'm saying. You do it. You could go like this. You could go. You know, you could work your way up the neck that way instead of going up one string and back down and up. You could go laterally, horizontally. I don't know how you say it. This way across the fretboard, and then work up a fret, and then go this way, and then go up a fret and go this way. And you know, that would be a very good exercise to get your fingers used to working independently. And again, you can see my first finger is not staying down there. There's no. I'm only playing one note of the 8 with my first finger. There's no reason for my first fingers to stay planted. And if you have smaller hands, it's almost impossible to play down here at the first fret because you need to kind of get up here. So your first finger might go up here a little bit when you're not using it. You might have this, you know, a little bit of this going on if your hand's a little smaller when you play at the bottom frets. But when we started doing these lessons, these live streams, we did that warm up almost every lesson for the first 20 lessons or so. I was trying to get everybody kind of on the same page, and I was. You know, I wouldn't do that in a private lesson. I had teachers that would do that, and I kind of resented it because I was like, I can do warm-ups. It's like singing lessons. You know, they have you come in and they do vocal warm-ups for like, if it's a 30-minute lesson, they'll have you come in and do, you know, 20 minutes of vocal warm-ups, and then you'll do 10 minutes of lesson. It's like, that's too easy from a teacher's perspective. So, you can practice hybrid picking too. Kind of like, oops, wrong bloody fingers, my bad. Hybrid picking would be picking with your pick and fingers. You could do something like that too. Let's see. Like this. You could go pick, ring. I'm sorry, pick middle. Let's see. That's kind of cool. Actually, it's a great exercise. I should do that. And because I don't use a lot of hybrid picking. I mean, actually, right now I have, like I said, no ring finger nail. So it's just. And what's funny is that's what made me think about the video I'm working on that I plan on posting. Because I mentioned that my nails were perfect in this video, and then literally the next day, I don't even know what I did, but this finger was broken off. You know, the nail was just like, I could see crack across it was broken. I'm like, dang it. I mean, I've done things where, like, I've taken my hand and closed the trunk. Now I don't, no, you know, if you just put your hand on the side of the trunk and slam it down, if your fingers slip and your hand goes like this, you know, I've broken nails that way. So now I literally will put my hand on top of the trunk and push it down, right? I won't just like do a flip it thing. I had my pinky nail break off one time when I was reaching in my pocket because it had gotten too long. I let it get too long, and it broke off when I was reaching into my pocket to get my keys. To get a guitar pick, ironically. That's, yeah, I've broken nails so many different ways. It's really, for me, there's no trick to, you know, and I've talked about this before. The nails that tend to do better, and that's why I was kind of shocked that I broke my ring finger, are the nails that have a big arch to them, the fingers, okay? So if you look at the fingers straight on like this, my pinky and ring finger have a big arch to them like this. These two fingers are flat, and I can never grow them long because they always are going to break. If they get long at all, they just don't. They just get worn out. They just, something's, you know. And back in the day, I had a teacher said, you know, you can clamp your nails. I don't really have anything, but there would be guys that would put something like a clamp on the tips of their fingers, tape them up, and sleep that way. It's like foot binding that the Japanese would do. Oh yeah, I use my pinky nail to play for cocaine. No, people would think that though. I'm a musician and I have a long pinky nail. They thought it was for cocaine. No, I would use for flamenco guitar. Flamenco, you use your all 5 fingers. So it's the only time I use it. I've seen guys there. I knew not personally, but there was a classical guitarist, I think he was Japanese, who would arrange symphonies, like he did the New World Symphony on classical guitar. And he would do tremolo with the pinky. He would pick down and up with the pinky. Like, you know, like I can do with a pick. Like that. He could do by itself with the pinky while he was doing thumb lines and chords with the fingers and arpeggios with the fingers. Like freaking crazy. I went to UCLA, Royce Hall to see him perform. And I just was like, all right. I think that may have actually been the time. It was a long time ago. That may have been when I stopped practicing classical guitar. Because this guy was, I think, probably younger than me. It's weird, you know, now everybody's younger than me, but it's weird when you start going through life and you're like, oh, shoot, that guy that just got that, you know, $100 million contract for the NFL, he's a year younger than me. He's 22, I'm 23, you know. That happens pretty early in life. But then all of a sudden you're older than people that are retiring from football, and you're like, oh, man, that's so weird. I'm not retired. I've got a long way to go. So, you know, am I the only one who doesn't know? Oh, I think, is that a word? I think. No, that's what I was just saying. That's what, hey, Franco. Yeah, that's the only time I really use the pinky nail is for flamenco. And I've been working on my flamenco playing a lot lately, so I kind of like to have it. So I'm just used to having it. And my finger feels weird if I don't have it though. Like right now, my third finger feels really weird. Cocaine. People would put cocaine on their pinky and snort it. Stick it up their nose and snort it. So. Yeah, exactly, Bruce. I don't know if you remember that. I touched my face so we can take a sip. I don't know if anybody remembers that Volkswagen ad, but it wasn't that long ago, but the Beetle, they had an ad for the Beetle. I think they were bringing back the Beetle. And they had an ad where the Beetle was parked on this, you know, kind of overlooking this vista or something. And there was a bridge behind it. And then they talk about how the arch is the strongest, you know, architectural structure. And then the Beetle drives away and leaves behind this arch on this bridge that's been there for 2,000 years or something. It's a really cool ad. And that's exactly right. That's why these two fingernails generally don't break. I have to make sure that I file them because they will tend to get too long. And I've got lots of files. I got this. This is cool. This was my grandmother's, and then my mom had it. And it is the best file I've tried to find this file, Sapphire Course from Hofritz, New York, German, made in Germany. And I'll tell you what, this thing still works. It's got two sides, and both sides are different. And so generally what I try to do is and let me see if I can draw this. So if I were to like outline my hand, oh, this is the wrong pen. And it's really hard to do. I can't do it with my hand, using my hand here. But, and then here's my thumb. Okay, so this is my thumb. All right, so there's my right hand. All right, so the idea is you got your nails. I try to get height. So the string is going to come across here generally. Like that. That's the part of the nail you're going to be using to pluck a string. So I try to get that flat and height on the other side. If I were to have the perfect nail, it would probably, let's see if I can draw it. It would look like this. Okay, so here's your finger. It would kind of have that shape. It's kind of weird looking, but it would have more height at the end. It's like, you know, it's on the side. In fact, I think he talks about it on, yes, in fact, I think he's got it, in this book, he talks about his nails in here somewhere. May even talk about filing nails in here. This book is falling apart. I've used it so much that I've broken the spine. Yeah. Yeah. So he even talks about it here on this. And I think he even talks about the nail types. Flat, the bent upward, yeah, curve. So, and he actually talks about not having too long nails. I see like some flamenco guys, they have the plastic nails put on. I had to do that once when I broke my thumbnail right before a wedding. And so I went to a nail salon, and had them put a thumbnail on. And they made, and I told them what it was for, and then I filed it down. It was too long, and I filed it and shaped it. And it worked, but to be 100% honest, it was weird feeling. And so I took it off. I had to, kind of get it off because it was bugging me. Because I couldn't feel anything. It was like this disconnect between my nerve. I didn't realize I had sensation in my nails. So it made it very difficult to play. So what I've done, and I've had to do it in the past, is when I broke a thumbnail and I had to play a classical guitar gig, I would use a thumb pick. It was, for me, better than using a plastic nail. So I've only had that done once, and like I said, I didn't like the way it felt. But some people will have really long nails, and that's really, he makes it say you don't need really, really long nails to play classical guitar. You just have to have the right shape nail. Like right now, my first finger, I've got way too much mass on this side and nothing over here. So it's kind of frustrating because I'd rather have more mass over here, but this is where it always, and probably because of the way I play electric, I'm scraping the nails right at that point, so they're thin just from being scraped. It's like I'm taking sandpaper to them all day long. So, I think I'm gonna do a video on slide maybe Wednesday. Let's see. Maybe I'll start talking about slide. I don't know. Maybe Wednesday will be kind of a transitional, because I want you to be able to have time to get some slide if you don't have one. So let me, tips for playing slides. Here we go. All right. Oh, I don't know. I don't think this will all copy. Well, let me try. Here's some links. Let me see what'll post here. Oh, no, it's too many. Okay, hold on a second. All right, select all, delete. Try this again. I'll do 3 at a time. So you'll need to get a slide. Okay, so there's 3 there. We do 3 more. And actually, I don't know if this one is, the one I've got in my hand right now is, oh, and including a Craftsman socket. I've used a Craftsman socket. I don't know where it is. I've got lots of slides. We may just talk about slides in general, but I just got this one, so I may use this one just because I want to practice using it. But I think this is called a preacher's pipe. Let me find this one. Really, dietitian. Eat it, Franco. That's what the pool guy puts in our pool, right? Hey, Jan, what's going on? Yeah, see yeah, no, acrylic nails. Like I said, I'm not a fan of it. Maybe if I did it, like got used to it and did it all the time or something, I might. But you know, part of when I'm writing like pop music too. In fact, right now I can't do fingered stuff. But part of when I write pop music, I really like the sound of my nails on the strings for some stuff. Sometimes I use a pick, but more often than not, like when I did I don't really have a good clean tone right now dialed up, but let me pull up the pad thing. But when I wrote ETA with Pooh Bear for Justin Bieber, that was all fingers, and again, it was playing kind of soft, loud amp, having it really loud in my studio, playing soft. It's just a great vibe, and you can really kind of get in, and you get certain notes to pop. So anyway, that's kind of what I was doing. Discussion on guitar notes. Oh, thanks, Bruce. I know I probably should do more research on it instead of bellyache about it. Bruce is saying, "Stop your belly aching." That's how he talks. Stop your belly aching. It cracks me up when I imitate my kids. Like Alex isn't on right now, but this is funny when Beth and I are talking or something, and I say, "Who, by the way, you got to see last week if you missed it." But thanks, Whitson. When I talk about my kids, I talk about the boys. I'm like, how do I say? Well, so anyway, they just talk like they sound like doofuses when I imitate them. And none of my kids are doofuses, but it's just funny. It's like when I imitate them, I make them sound like a doofus. So I don't know why that is. That says something about me, not about them. So. So get back to our scale for the day. That's me talking. No, this is me talking. And Vito, if you're going to start working on scales, don't start with this one. That's kind of why I said lesson 93. Start with lesson 93. And then start working on that. And then you can create exercises of your own. And always create exercises that work problems. Don't create exercises that are easy for you. You want to create exercises that are things that you're struggling with, whether there's certain finger movements, certain fingers that are giving you troubles. It's exactly like that. 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. I could have done an exercise. Well, let's just do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And if I ever do that beginner, like super easy guitar lesson series, it will have stuff like that. The first lesson will be literally that. I mean, we're talking super easy guitar lessons if I ever do that. So, is the third location wrong? I saw you. I saw you. No, I mean, if you were to play the pentatonic scale by itself, and you could say the proper way to play it was be second position. We talked about this at the beginning of the video. But in practice, yes, you can do that. When rubber meets the road, which means, sorry, I don't mean to use American colloquialisms, but what that means is when the rubber meets the road, it's like when the tire hits the ground. When we're actually using it at a gig, then all bets are off. You can finger it any way that makes it better for you in that moment. Okay, like I've always said, if there are two ways to do something on the guitar and one's easy and one's hard, always do the easy way if they're identical. Okay, so for example, because if you're trying to find out like how did Jimi Hendrix do this, it's definitely you could do it this way, or you could do it here and you have to have this finger here and you have to go. Yeah, he didn't do it that way. Trust me. He did it this way. He didn't go. He wasn't like, oh well. He didn't do it the complex way. He did it the easier way. And so when you go to practice the pentatonic scale like this, yeah, sure, pentatonic number 5, that's proper. But you could also practice it like this because that's going to be more usable. And rarely do I ever play pentatonic number 5 by itself. Usually I'm coming to, the only scale, number 2 I might play by itself, but even number 2 I wouldn't stick to the proper fingering once I got to the top. I go to 1-3-1-3 instead of 2-4-2-4. Again, because it's much more musical to have your alpha fingers on the fretboard than your beta fingers. Okay, especially if you're doing blues or something where you want to dig in and get fat. You want it to be like. Technically, the proper finger for that note in pentatonic number 2 would be your pinky. It just doesn't feel the same as getting and I don't have a blues tone up. So there's correct and then there's correct. There's correct and then there's realistic. I'm totally messing up my windows here. I don't know what you're referring to, the third location wrong. Oh, I'm sorry, you are right. That should say second fret. Oh my gosh, did I do that with all of them? Oh, I did. My brain, sorry. That's what you're referring to. Yes, that is wrong. So I'm gonna go and delete those from, man, that stinks because now it's up here forever. And I'm gotta delete this. So I'm gonna delete these from the Discord. Dang it. Vito, good eyes. I was in a hurry this morning and I knew what I was doing at the moment I did it. I was like, something was weird. Okay, so let me add a text here. Okay. Can I get an arrow? All right. A little late for this. In fact, I can even go over that. Dang it. Vito was so confused. And that's what you were referring to. I thought you were referring to something else. Sorry, buddy. Okay, so I'll fix that and redo them, but I won't be able to fix it on this video. That's impossible, unfortunately. But I will put a little comment saying, yes, I realize now that I was an idiot. Okay, so, yeah, so that's, second fret. But the fingering, still good information to know about, like, you don't have to stick to proper fingering for scales when you actually are using them. Let's see. Okay, I'll check into that diatomaceous. Well, I know where I can find some diatomaceous earth. Let's see. Jan's late. That's all right.
I am human. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. So I'll make sure that this is maybe the screenshot right here for the for the thing. You know, the people can go, oh wait. So, I was in a hurry this morning. I was kind of on Eastern time. I got up early. I got up before 7, so I was like, yeah, I can't sleep anymore. So and I was only there for 2 nights, so I don't know. But when you get up early 3 days in a row, it's hard not to do it the 4th day. So, oh my gosh, I may have to take this video down. XL is like, oh, you were confused too. Okay, so let's see what else. Story time. Do I have a story? I don't know if I have a story. Let me see. Did I text myself a story? Sometimes if I have a story, I have to text myself. Let's see. Where is the text to myself? There we go. No, that's, yeah. No. No. Yeah, I'm not doing that. But I can tell a little bit about our trip. It was cool. We went, for one thing, we get to Tulsa. I had already pre-ordered a small SUV for the trip. Gas was like literally $1.74 in Joplin. $1.74 a gallon. I think I paid $3.74 here in LA. It's crazy. But but when we got there was actually, gosh, I don't know. Because we carried on. We didn't have much baggage, so we carried on. So we got to Enterprise pretty quick, and then right behind us was like, I don't know, 20 people. It was like, fortunately, we were like second in line, and then by the time we got help, there were 20 people behind us. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad because we had just flown, and we had just flown and tired, got up early, everything like that, and we still have 2 hours on the road before we get to Joplin. So, 4 hours on a plane and 2 hours on the road. So yeah, Diane's not here. She's not able to make it. I may have to go back to 11 o'clock for Diane. Try to pick up a slide. I don't know if I'll start it on Wednesday or not, but I will start. I'm going to do some slide basics. We're going to talk about that, and I'm not like the amazing slide player, but it is fun to do. And when you have open tunings, it's really fun to do. But we're not going to start with that right away. We'll start with standard tune. But so we get there, and they don't have the SUV that I ordered waiting there for us. I guess they were expecting it to be returned. That's why when you enter the time that you're going to be there, and the time, it's half-hour windows, and I guess they use that as like some kind of commitment on your part that you're going to have the vehicle back so they can get it, to the next person or whatever. So they don't have to have as many vehicles, which I guess makes sense. But they said, well, we can give you this instead. And I thought it was a Ford 150, but it was not. It was a Ram 1500, a four-door Ram 1500 truck. I've never driven a truck before in my life. So like for the next 3 days, I'm so paranoid driving around, not trying to scrape on stuff. And sometimes we were driving in these dark roads, where there's no, it's just a ditch. So, and then the car comes along and you're going over a little teeny bridge and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna ditch this thing. So yeah, Labor Day story. So we rented this truck. It was pretty, like I said, it was unlike anything I would have naturally driven. It wasn't horrible, but I would have been bummed about the gas cost, but because gas is less than half of California there, it wasn't really a factor. I think I filled the thing up from empty to full for $50. And it was a 25-gallon tank or something, 27-gallon tank or something. So, and so so we were driving. We got to Joplin. We got our hotel. Let's see, we went to Emma. We saw where Emma lives, which is nice. She lives in Webb City. She teaches in Webb City, which is just north of. She's a STEM teacher, just north of Joplin, and so I think she's enjoying that. She was just struggling, like everybody coming out of college this year, struggling with finding a job because unemployment's high, interviews are weird. She was trying to get a job at a church. She still wants to work at a church ultimately. So then it's funny because she's not going to watch this, but she goes, oh, there's this really good, and she's a California girl, but she's been living in Joplin now. This is her 5th year. She started her 5th year. And she said, oh, we're going to go to this, we want you to go to this really good, it's a really good kind of Japanese, Chinese restaurant or something. And it was funny because it was kind of like, it was a hybrid. It was, for one thing, it was a food truck, but it was a permanent food truck. So it was like a food trailer up on blocks. And there was a huge line at this place, but we pre-ordered, so we were good. And it had like, we just all got the same thing, basically. We got the plate that came with multiple things, And one thing to its advantage is it was super cheap. So it would have been $20 in LA. It was $10. Everything's half price, and houses are not even. It's like houses are 1/5 the price in California, or less. And so we it had like Thai noodles, like peanut noodles, like on it. It had Chinese like little miniature. Egg rolls, and it had little like a California roll, so it was Chinese, Japanese, and Thai all in one thing. And then it had this salad that was kind of tasted something like I would have gotten in Korea. So it was kind of like there were these vegetables I would have gotten in Korea. So it was kind of like it was all Asia all the time, but it was all in one plate. It reminds me when I was in Korea, they took us. They go, oh, we got to take you to this American restaurant. It's like, why is it? And I'm guilty of this too. It's like, oh, someone visits from Korea and you got to go, oh, you got to check out this great Korean restaurant. You think they want to go to Korean food. It's like, they eat that every day, right? So they take us to this American restaurant. I kid you not. And we got the combo meals. They just ordered us food, And it had a hamburger, a hot dog, a pizza, and fries. And it was all like really bad. I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? That's what you think of American food? And I get told it was like a hamburger, a hot dog, a pizza, and fries. And I'm like, wow. And lots of ketchup everywhere. It was like, and there were all these Korean people. They were like, oh, American food is so good. Oh, let's go to an American restaurant. You forget that you forget you're a foreigner when you're in another country. It reminds me of Frank on MASH. He goes. He says things like, Korea would be great if it weren't for all these foreigners. So anyway, we went to that restaurant, and it was fine. It was fine. I'm not dissing it, but it just cracked me up how quickly when you live in that, when you move to a rural area, you live outside of a big city. And I've been to some restaurants in small towns that were very good. So don't get me wrong. I know it can be done. And oftentimes you're a lot closer to the farm. So when they say farm to table kind of stuff, it really is ridiculous in Los Angeles. But in Indiana or Missouri or Arkansas, it can be a very big reality, especially when it comes to beef. Some of the best beef I've ever had has been in the Midwest. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's even when you go to the high end, or the what's supposed to be the gourmet restaurants in a little town, and I'm talking little town. I don't know what size Joplin, 35,000, 40,000, something like that. That's a pretty big town. I'm talking like 5,000. They may have some like little restaurant that is, doilies on the table and stuff like that. That they think, oh, this is the best place in town, and you're like, oh, that's just brutal. A lot of times when you go to a small town, the best places to go to are like the places that really do the breakfasts. Like the waffle places, if they make waffles, I don't know. I'm not dissing small towns. I may retire in one someday. So, and I'm not a foodie either, so it's not even that. Take care, Witshead. Let's see, Bruce. Oftentimes, I'll form a chord based on the previous chord or subsequent. Tell us a slide story. I'll tell slide stories when I do slide. I mean, I think the natural next lessons would be to do diatonic scales, but that's a whole other can of worms. I don't know if we want to go there. So slide would be fun. Anyway, so then the next day was the graduation. They did the graduation, was all socially distanced, everything. It was funny because, they had I think 149 graduates. Small school. They had 149 graduates that year, and they had, I think, 90 of them in person and like 59 of them online. And our daughter, of course, was there. And so they had the seats all 6 feet apart, and when they walked up, they came up in groups, and they stood 6 feet apart and all that. So it was like kind of surreal in that regard too. And everybody's wearing masks, even though, in fact, right now, Missouri is kind of one of the hotbeds. They're having a spike right now. Sorry, my brain shut off. But then afterwards, when they're all outdoors, they're all hugging. And so it's just like, whatever, Everybody's got their masks off, and they're all hugging and doing that kind of stuff. So, yeah, Labor Day it's been around for a while. How long is Labor Day? Early 20th century. Okay, September. No, first Monday of September is what Bruce meant. First Monday of September every year, because today is the 7th, is it not? So it's technically the first Monday. So, and then we drove to Bentonville. Which is in northern Arkansas. Cute little town. A daughter I said, where do you want to go to lunch? And she and Beth had been to this place like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And Beth wanted me to see Bentonville. It's a very cute town. So that's actually the headquarters of Walmart. The Walmart Museum is there on the town square. And there were people lined up for that. But so there's a lot of money there, and there's actually a couple museums, and they're completely free. We went to one of them, but it was technically closed. I mean, you could walk in just for a little bit of it, but they were putting in a new installation, so they couldn't let you in to see the whole thing. So, and they looked like they had a couple good restaurants there. The place we went to was fine. It was like 1,000 other places. Very organic. It was actually funny because it shared space with a bike shop. So there was all these bikers there. The kids on bikes and adults on bikes and stuff. And so you could walk from one. It's all inside the same room. And people were a lot of bikers out on the streets and stuff like that. It was very, very health conscious city. Very much kind of reminded me of Boulder and Austin a lot. And Portland too. So who knows where it's headed? It was like, oh. In fact, they had a Confederate statue that they just took down in their town square. I was like, oh. Beth was like, she was just there like 4 weeks ago, and there was a statue there, and she said, not there anymore. And so they had just taken it down preemptively. So, I have mixed feelings about some of that. I could see, I don't know, because I do feel like you got to know history, and if you don't learn history, you're doomed to repeat it. There's and I also don't understand how you can be hurt by a statue that's 700 miles away from where you live if you've never seen the statue and you go drive 700 miles to protest a statue. It's kind of weird, but anyway. So that's just me. The holidays technically. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, Bruce, I didn't realize that. So technically, the holidays September 1st, but shutdown wise, yeah, no mail delivery, no stock market, banks are closed. September 1st. I mean, first Monday. Good to know. I think that's true with President's Day too, right? It's a specific day. It's the birthdays, but then they take. Did they make it a Monday anyway? So. But we were driving to Bentonville, and there's a lot of traffic. And we're like, dang, everybody wants to go to Bentonville. I was not. It was a motorcycle accident. The guy was dead. They had him covered up with a sheet. The bike was completely, didn't look like a bike anymore. I couldn't even tell where the wheels were. It was really sad. And it was at the stoplight on a busy freeway. So it's like, yeah, stoplights on a freeway are not a good idea. And then we get to Bentonville, and it's a beautiful town square. Like I said, lots of restaurants, lots of cool things. Actually got some really good coffee there. It was a really good coffee shop. Very good. And then we drove back and hung out some more. Went to, I don't think we went to any more restaurants in Joplin, but every morning we got breakfast at the hotel. One thing, we flew on Southwest, and I like Southwest. I mean, I like Southwest if I remember to set an alarm 24 hours before booking. I hate to tell you this, but you know that you can get your seat, you can check in 24 hours before. That's true of any airline. But usually you have a seat assignment. But Southwest, you really need to remember. And so I always 24 hours and 5 minutes before I have to check in, I set an alarm. So okay, if I'm driving, I'm pulling over and making sure I'm getting the seat. Because I always, I want to be in the first seat. Now, it was pretty irrelevant. In fact, Southwest is doing this to the end of October, and they said they may continue it through next summer. And they are not letting people sit in the middle seat unless you want to sit next to your spouse or unless you have a kid and the three of you want to sit together. So they are cutting, that would be 1/3 of the seating. And so many flights are completely full now. Even Beth flew American, and she said every seat was full. So it was really nice having the whole row to ourselves, just Beth and I. So, she would get the window and I get this aisle or whatever. Touch my face. Cheers. Oh, still made it. Dennis, hey. I'm just telling the story now, and not much of a story, just where I was this weekend. So, and that was the other thing too. I figured out really quick at Burbank Airport that, we always get there early. So we had at least an hour to kill. And I'm always, like to be there early in case something happens. And I'm used to dealing with LAX where you could literally spend an hour in security. But at Burbank, it wasn't, security's like that. And same with Tulsa Airport's really, really fast. And so we're sitting there, and I realized, oh, wait, you don't have to have your mask on if you're eating or drinking. So I went and got a small coffee, finished it in about 5 minutes, but just sat there with an empty cup of coffee so I could have my mask off. I wasn't sitting there anyone. I wasn't going to hurt anybody. Hey, Walter, what's up? So, and so that's so that was one thing, and the other thing was that you had to wear a mask on the flight on Southwest. But if they gave you a bag of nuts or snack and a water, that was all they gave you, and like you're in prison. But when you had that, you could have your mask off. So of course, I took an hour to eat my bag of nuts, and so I didn't have to wear my mask the whole time, which was nice. I always do this thing too, where whenever I fly, I always pick up a box of candy or something like that and give it to the flight attendants as I get on the plane. And then I've been bumped up to first class for doing that, stuff like that. It's I buy a $6 box of candy and I get bumped up to first class. It's funny. Or they'll bring you stuff. One time they gave me a bottle of wine, but I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because they deserve the extra energy they're going to need to deal with all these stupid passengers that, feel like they're on a freaking, they dress like they're on a Greyhound bus. I'm sorry, but it's like, come on, people, dress up a little bit. My kids still dress up when they fly. And when we were kids, we wore suits. You had to wear a suit to fly, a tie and everything. I mean, that's the only reason you bought a suit was because your parents would buy you a suit because, you need a suit if we're going to fly to see grandma and grandpa. So that world is totally behind us, and everybody's just wearing. People are barefoot. They're wearing shorts. They're torn T-shirts. It's whatever. It just cracks me up. But Southwest is really cool. They're really funny. They have jokes and things like that. The one guy said something like, "Make sure you put your phone on airplane mode or Depeche mode." So. So I changed the name of my phone in normal mode to Depeche mode so I could have my phone on. No, I'm just but yeah, so I like Southwest. And the other thing great about Southwest is you can have 2 bags check, 2 bags, no extra cost. Everybody's charging for everything now, and so Southwest has never done that, and that's great. But they're mostly a regional airline. They don't go out. They go to Mexico and I think maybe Canada, but other than that, I don't think they go anywhere. Walter's in the house. Yeah, I changed my time to 9 because I get more done in a day, and I'm working on a record, and sessions oftentimes are starting at 11. So, but yeah, we're and then flying back. Oh, so we flew through Denver on the way there and through Vegas on the way back. So we had a 3-hour layover in Vegas, and so apparently what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? No, but I actually, they have slot machines, so I went to the slot machine, I had a $10 bill in my wallet, and I went, oh, okay, sure. So I put $10 in, and it's just one of the slots that, the win or whatever, that thing. So I hit, I go ahead and hit 5. It's like 25% machine, so every time I hit the 5, it was betting $1.25. And I just kept doing it. Literally, I'm sitting there going, okay, I got 2 more spins left on this $10 bill. I'm like, I haven't even been here 60 seconds. So I can just see how I'm throwing things away. All of a sudden, I hit that second to last button, and it's like, ding, 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 ding. Went out a lot of money. But it was just funny, because I asked the lady, how much can I win before I have to give you my Social Security number? She goes, $1,250. I went, cool. So I hit, what did I do? I just hit cash out, and it printed up this thing, and I went over to the lady. She gave me the cash, so I won some money in Vegas, so that was funny. But boy, I'll tell you, did I want to keep hitting that button though? See, and we all know that's how they get you. No one can stop. And I even remember when I went to Vegas years ago, and I made, like on the nickel slots, I made $20 last all night. Because you would win enough to kind of keep you going. And I knew that I would lose that $20 eventually. Because I was up at one point, I had $40. So I was ahead at one point, but, I eventually, and then the next night I think I got $1 chips, because that was nickels. Then I got $1 chips, and I went to I did roulette wheel. And I made $20 last. I was ahead again at one point, probably $40-$50, but I made that $20 last about 2 hours. So I figured, well, it's still more expensive than a movie, but I made it last a couple hours. But I could see where I go, that was fun. I think I'll go get I'll get 40 this time. Now you're losing 40. And next thing, and so when I was ahead, I was like, okay, I'm going to do the completely contrary thing, which I'm a very contrarian person anyway. And go ahead and just take my winnings. So, Ron McCoy, wait a minute, did you comment above? Oh my gosh. Well, good to meet you, Ron. I don't know if... Good. Fulfill that life's ambition. That was 9 o'clock is one of the reasons. Australia is one of the reasons I moved it to 9 o'clock as well, because what time is it there, Ron? It's pretty late. I mean, it's probably 1 in the morning, something like that. But there are night owls, and if I happen to catch some people that are like stay up late and at 11 o'clock at night, and they turn on my channel and they see I'm live, then they might join in. Because really, the later I start, the harder it is for anyone in Australia and India. In England now that I'm starting at 9, that's 5 p.m. in London, so that's almost more doable. Typically, that's when I would do my student in London. That's 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning is typically when I would do that lesson. So, good on you. Yeah, I need to get to Australia. I have a stepbrother that's there, and they're stuck there. They can't leave because of COVID. I mean, his girlfriend is Australian. In fact, she was Miss Australia at one point. Back in the 70s, she was Miss Australia. And that's my stepbrother, and he's there with her, and he can't get home. They won't let him back, or I don't know. You're on like mega shutdown right now in Australia. It's crazy because you had a spike or something. It's like, just get it and be done with it. So Oh, cool. Oh, you're at Conway tomorrow, 5 p.m. to midnight. Wow. Okay, so let me play a little bit in this scale to the jam, and I slowed it down. It's that 6th fret blues note right there. Yeah, this is not the scale I would normally do for, it's not a normal scale for me to do. So, let's see. Yeah. Oh, the bottom 4 strings. Yeah. All the scales are, the pentatonic scales in particular are 2 notes per string. So you got six strings, you got 12 notes. So and they're fairly easy to memorize eventually, and that's where, but I do recommend you start on lesson number 93 to start on the pentatonic scales, and then that way you'll learn the 5 pentatonics. And then what we do is we take the same 5 pentatonics and we do this here. We add the blues notes to them, okay? So, all right, now, oh gosh, it's been 2 hours almost. So I'm going to take off. I've got some work to do, and I'm going to try to post a video tomorrow. The video tomorrow is on Signal Path, and so I'm going to, but I'm kind of doing a contrarian take on it, so hopefully it makes sense. And then I'll do a premiere on it, so we can watch together, and you can comment, and I'll be there, and I can answer questions as we go, hopefully. So I'll probably premiere it tomorrow at 9 a.m., same time. Okay, and then I'll see you Wednesday. We may start doing slide, or I may do a transitional lesson or something. And I've got lots of different slides. You can use different things as slides. Heck, the early guys used a knife. But this is brass. I really like, this is probably my main slide, the pill bottle. This is what Dwayne Allman would use, Coricidin pill bottle. This is not an actual Coricidin pill bottle. I don't think there's any reason to spend that kind of money to get that legitimate of a, because they're real expensive now. And this is a regular, all the way through, you can see there, slide. See, this one has a top on it, but this one does not. Let's see. I got this one. I forgot about. I'm gonna get a bunch of them out. I forgot about this one. I got this one recently. This is a shorter slide. It's a little tough if it doesn't cover all the strings. It's a little tough when you have open tunings to kind of. This one is kind of cool because technically you can use this as a slide and then flip it. See, I don't want to put it on, but it comes with different inserts, so you can have a different size. So. But then you can flip it over and then play, just finger. But it's right now I don't have the right insert in here because it's a little loose. You want to have an insert. See, it comes with these. a bunch of them actually. Here's a smaller one. Probably that's be the one I should use. Let's see. This kind of works. I use it at a gig, and it's actually a reed cover for a sax player, and it's aluminum, I think, but it's a little on the thin side. So it got me through a gig once, basically. Here's a literal bottleneck that's been made into. You can see it's a wine bottleneck. So we're going to talk about slide. I'm giving away the whole lesson right now. Okay, yeah, you're right. This would be a good one for that. Well, I don't get rid of anything, so that would be a good one for that. You're right. I've got another one here. So I've got a bunch of these different size ones of the glass slides, and by different size too. Sometimes no, these are all the same. The same thickness glass. This one has a thinner glass. This is thinner, and I actually like the tone of this one. And then these are for lap steel slides. See, these are different. These are solid. So yeah, here's a really cheap one I've had forever. I can't believe I haven't broken this. This one is very thin and doesn't sound very good at all. And I'm almost afraid to put it on my finger because it's very small. So I'll keep this one out too, just for reference. All right, I think that's all of them. So we may do that on Wednesday or Friday. Wednesday, I just want people to have time to get a slide. Oh yeah, glass slides, I break them all the time. I put them in guitar cases like an idiot, and then somebody puts something on top of my case, like an amp, a soft gig bag, and then you go to grab your slide out and you cut your finger. Literally had that happen. So yeah, and I apologize about the stupid the diagram having the wrong fret up there. Like I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, well, I was thinking it was third fret. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking wrong. I had wrong thinking. Yeah, happy Labor Day. Hopefully you have some time with family and friends today. Enjoy life. God bless you. And I will, Lord willing, be here. And tomorrow, the premiere for the Signal Path. And if you don't know what Signal Path is, then just watch the video and you'll find out. We're going to talk about that. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.